This meeting is now called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Bavoni?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here?
Ms. Palmer?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
Thank you. First item on the agenda are two proclamations.
Okay, the first proclamation for this week is for the Safe Boating Week. Whereas the city of Renton is bounded by Lake Washington's shoreline and encompasses numerous waterways, and whereas a large number of Renton's residents of all ages engage in recreational boating, and whereas on average 700 people die each year in boating-related accidents in the U.S., with the vast majority of these accidents caused by human error and poor judgment, and not by the boat, equipment, or environmental factors. And whereas a significant number of boaters who lose their lives by drowning each year would be alive today had they worn their life jackets. And whereas the mission of the United States Coast Guard Auxiliary Flotilla 25, located in Renton, is to promote and improve recreational boating safety by teaching boating safety courses and conducting vessel safety checks. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim May 16th through 22nd, 2015, to be Safe Boating Week in the City of Renton, and I encourage all Renton residents to dedicate themselves to learning about and practicing safe boating, including wearing life jackets. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 18th day of May, 2015. Signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the proclamation be approved as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Prince. The council approve this proclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I know we have a number of members from the Coast Guard here. Is Deborah Alderman here? Great, I'm going to present this to you.
Yeah, I'll say a few words. As a division commander in the Coast Guard Auxiliary and a member of Flotilla 25, I wanted to thank you, the Honorable Mayor Law, for this proclamation for Safe Boating Week of May 16th through the 22nd with the city residents in Renton. I thank you also for the opportunity to speak briefly to the council tonight. During the past 39 years, Flotilla 25 has been organized and worked in Renton, promoting safe boating classes and conducting vessel safety checks on Lake Coulon and other locations. We also conduct safety affairs at local schools and assist the fire departments and other organizations in safety fairs. We have an interactive robotic coastie that goes around to children's events to help them learn about safe boating and always to wear their life jacket. I've given you all a brief brochure about what our Division 2 does and what Flotilla 25 does if you want to find out more about our missions and our activities. So anyway, we look forward to going another 50 years working with the city of Renton to promote safe boating. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate it very much. Okay, next proclamation.
Okay, this proclamation is for National Public Works Week. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as water, sewers, roadways, public buildings, and waste collection. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on the facilities and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities and programs, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works officials. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Whereas 2015 marks the 55th annual National Public Works Week. Community Begins Here, which speaks to the essential nature of public works services in support of everyday quality of life, is sponsored by the American Public Works Association. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim May 17th through 23rd, 2015 to be National Public Works Week in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to recognize the contributions public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 18th day of May 2015, and it is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Prince. That this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. It's my pleasure to present this proclamation to Greg Zimmerman, who is the administrator over the best public works department in the entire region.
I agree. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm Greg Zimmerman, Renton's Public Works Administrator, and I want to thank you very much for the proclamation recognizing May 17th through 23rd as National Public Works Week. The staff members of Renton's Public Works Department, among other things, are responsible for the construction, maintenance, and operation of 300-mile centerline miles of roadway in Renton, 10,000 traffic signs, 129 signals, 6,700 street lights, 2.4 billion gallons a year of water to our 17,000 water customers, and garbage and recycling services to 18,500 customers, running the Renton Airport that has 94,000 yearly operations, maintaining the city vehicle fleet and other responsibilities. These are important services that we hope and we aim to improve the standard of living of the residents and businesses of the city. But a lot of times people aren't aware that these activities are happening, which is the way we like it. Because when we are noticed, we're usually shutting down street lanes, blocking a street, doing things that cause noise and dust and so forth. So we try to the extent possible to provide these services in a way that is quiet and behind the scenes. When we do get a call from a resident, however, that's when we do want to be noticed. We want to be out there, we want to be providing those services immediately and letting them know that we're doing the best we can to make sure the infrastructure is running. So speaking for the entire department, we're honored to provide these services to the Renton residents and businesses and to you, the city policymakers of the city of Renton. While we like to provide these services quietly, in an efficient way, we do appreciate being recognized for this one week out of the year. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
And Greg, thank your staff. I mean, they do a wonderful job for us. There's a lot of things that get done in the city that fall under Public Works. We really appreciate their dedication and hard work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, next is a public hearing. Jennifer, you drew the short straw.
Been on vacation, that's what happens. Okay. So wouldn't you know that the mouse stops working? There we go. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm Jennifer Henning, and I'm with the city's Department of Community and Economic Development. I'm here tonight because there's a public hearing with regard to a requested street vacation petition. And this is called the Tasca Street Vacation Petition. The file number is VAC-15-001. You may think that this sounds a little bit familiar because back in 2006, an identical petition was filed with the city, and it did not proceed. It was, a public hearing was held, it was approved by the council, but the applicant did not take the next steps to perfect this by having an appraisal done, and after 2 years, that petition expired. The applicant is back, and they're pursuing this again. The location of this particular street vacation is in the Kennydale neighborhood in the north portion of the city. It's just to the west of I-405. It's just to the east of Meadow Avenue North, and it's at North 38th Street. Blowing up and diving down a little bit more, you can see the area that's being requested for a vacation. It's about 8,600 square feet in size, and it's shown as a bright yellow rectangle on this slide. Here's a street view of the area. There's some gravel laid down. If you look in the background, you can see the WSDOT noise wall for Interstate 405. So this is a view looking east. And this is an aerial view of an aerial photograph looking at the same area. So it's about 50 feet wide, 172 feet deep, and it abuts Interstate 405. So this petition was received at the end of February. There was a previous application back in March 2006. According to state law and city code, more than 2/3 of the abutting property owners must sign the vacation petition. And in this case, 100% of the abutting owners did sign. This particular right-of-way was dedicated as part of the C.D. Hillman's Lake Washington Garden of Eden Division II 111 years ago. Since that time, it's not been used as a public road.
Mr. Covington, do you recall that? I'm sorry.
Vaguely, I think Larry probably has a pretty good recollection.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And there have been no city improvements placed in this area since it was dedicated. So the applicants requested the street vacation in order to aggregate this with some parcels he owns to the north and the south. The applicant owns a parcel to the north that's about a half an acre in size, and a parcel to the south that's about 6,000 square feet in size. And this would allow the applicant, if it's granted, to aggregate all those parcels and have additional land available to develop. It should be noted that this area is zoned residential 8 dwelling units per acre. That allows individual single-family homes to be developed as long as the lots are 7,000 square feet in size or bigger. So as part of our process, we circulated this within the city to any departments who had an interest, and also to agencies outside of the city and utilities and such who might have an interest. When we circulated this in 2006, we did receive one comment that was in the form of an objection from our own Development Services Division, and that was because at the time we thought the Washington State Department of Transportation would need this area for potential expansion. Since then, WSDOT's plans have been scaled back, and they do not need this area. They're not going to go beyond the noise wall for actual lanes. So we did contact Washington State Department of Transportation again, this time as we did in 2006. The Urban Corridors Program, I-405 project team, their real estate headquarters staff, and our own, the group within WSDOT that looks at real estate issues within King County. This was a drawing that was provided to us from WSDOT back in 2006. It showed that they were interested in the time to acquire 15 feet of width next to Interstate 405 for future right-of-way, and an additional 20 feet as a subterranean easement. We were really concerned about this comment, and we wanted to see if it was valid or not still. And we just heard today that WSDOT, well, they don't plan to expand the lanes, they're still interested in having that same level of acquisition, 15 feet for WashDOT and then 35 feet for a subterranean easement. So if you look at that area, it's in red on the slide that's up on the wall, that's 35 feet total. 15 feet of it is now shown in red, the additional 20 in blue. And so the first 15 feet would go straight to WashDOT. It wouldn't allow any ownership by the underlying property owner if he was able to take this on. The area in blue, the additional 20 feet, would be used potentially for subterranean issues, so no basements, deep vegetation, and the like could go underground, but you could put a structure across the top. So, in addition, we contacted, previously we contacted Quest, which is now CenturyLink, and Puget Sound Energy. They had no facilities in this area, and they indicated no easements were needed. Under today's application, we did hear from PSC. They responded they did not have any objection to this street vacation request. And we've not heard from Comcast or Integra Telecom, even though we did contact them. So we'd like to say that we've analyzed this ourselves. We've looked at the comments received, and we are recommending that the council approve the request to vacate this area subject to two conditions. The first would be to provide a 20-foot wide subterranean easement granted to WashDOT, and that is for the west 20 feet of the east 35 feet, and also that the petitioner shall convey his interest in the east 15 feet to the Washington State Department of Transportation. So if the council were to approve this vacation petition, the petitioner would have to take the next step and order an appraisal done by an appraiser approved by the city. The staff would review that appraisal to see if it makes good sense. Then we would come back to the council so that you could set the compensation. And this concludes staff's presentation, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions from council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Person.
Jennifer, I noticed on your picture, it shows that there's a dump truck there, and it looks like it's being used maybe for commercial purpose. And I guess my concern would be is if we're vacating, we should be most likely getting rent, but if we vacate it, is there some provision that doesn't allow this to expand? I mean, I hope.
So you're asking, would it be a non-conforming use that would be allowed to continue?
Yeah. Yep, and expand it all into.
So the only way that could happen is if there was a home occupation business license approved, and it's doubtful that that would be. There is no license in place right now because it is right-of-way, so it is a code enforcement issue at the moment.
That's it.
Any other questions from council? Do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not.
Okay. This is a public hearing. I don't have anybody who's signed to address the council on this topic. Is there anybody in the audience that wanted to testify? Okay, seeing none, what's the wish of the council?
Will we close the hearing?
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Person, second by Ms. Palmer, that we close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Jennifer, what action do we need to take, and when does that to happen?
So tonight we're asking the council to decide whether to approve or to not approve the requested vacation.
Okay.
With these two conditions.
With these two conditions. Thank you.
Mr. Corman.
Yeah, I would move the council approve the petition with the conditions shown on the screen. Petitioner orders and submits an appraisal. Staff reviews the appraisal and returns to council so compensation can be set.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council approve the street vacation with the two items, conditions.
Mr.
Any
Mayor?
further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I think there are two other conditions on the
I'm sorry,
subterranean.
misunderstood. Beg your pardon.
These are the two conditions.
These are the two conditions. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to amend my motion, friendly amendment, to add the specific conditions the community, let's see, that a subterranean easement shall be granted to WashDOT over the west 20 feet of the east 35 feet, and the petitioner shall convey his interest in the east 15 feet to Washington State Department of Transportation.
Okay, so the motion's been amended to include the two conditions. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a couple of items for the council and the public's information. The city's Hanging Flower Basket Program began the week following Mother's Day and will continue through October. We have over 100 hanging flower baskets providing our downtown Renton with lots of color. And if people have any questions, they can contact our Community Services Department. We have several street projects going on. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we want to try to keep the public informed just so you can plan accordingly. This week, from 9 to 3:30 p.m. in the middle of the day, lane closures will occur eastbound on Southeast Carr Road between Talbot Avenue South and 108th Avenue Southeast, and then we'll switch to the westbound direction in the same direction to accommodate routine storm system cleaning. So folks can just watch. There'll just be lots of activity there between Talbot and the Benson Highway. On this week and through July 30th, we're going to have intermittent single lane closures in the vicinity of Northeast 10th between Sunset Boulevard Northeast and Harrington, and Sunset Lane Northeast between 10th and Harrington, to accommodate construction of the Sunset Terrace Regional Stormwater Facility Project. So we'll try to get notice up there, but people can just be aware that's what's going on. We also have a couple other projects. Lake Washington Boulevard near Gene Coulon. There's that construction activity oftentimes requires some little bit of traffic ingressing and egressing and ingressing, and so traffic control. That's the word I was looking for, so watch for that. And then finally, 16th and Raymond, there's some work with British Petroleum and Olympic Pipeline Network, so that's working there. As the summer begins to roll around, can give you a couple friendly reminders. Our volunteer trail rangers will be out on the Cedar River Trail beginning this week to assist with trail education and report unwanted activity. If people would like to volunteer to be a trail ranger, please contact us at 425-430-6600. Gene Coulon Memorial Beach Park and Kennydale Beach Park are two of our busiest parks in the summer, but remember, dogs are not allowed in these beach parks. They are allowed at all other parks unless posted and must be kept on a leash. However, if you want to go to an off-leash park, we do have one of those located along the Cedar River Trail across the river from the community center. For more information on our parks and trails, they can visit our webpage. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Next is audience comment. We have a couple people signed up to address the council. When I call your name, please come to the podium, give your name and city of residence for the record, and you have 5 minutes. Beth Asher.
Beth Asher, Renton, Washington, and I'm coming to talk about RIAC. Let's see if I can do this properly. Which one do I hit, Jay? I brought a little blurb. We've been up and running for nearly 2 years now, and we've gone from having 2 kids a day to having as many as 42 a day on the days we're open. So pretty successful. And then this year we're getting some programming in place. And one of the first things we're going to have is a job interviewing seminar. Our trainer is a young man who is now with the City of Seattle. He was really successful when he worked at Best Buy. He was a trainer and a manager of a store there. And he noticed that people would come in and interview and they would not have even the basic skill to sit through the interview. They had no idea what would be required, what employers were looking for. So he was raised here in Renton and wanted to do something to help out. So he has developed a curriculum that he used at Best Buy that he has offered to put on for us. So this is open to youth ages 16 and up, and I'm not even sure there's an upper limit. For instance, anyone from Reach Center of Hope who's looking for a job could come if they think it would benefit them. It's Saturday, May 30th. It's 12 p.m. at our RIAC building, which is the Tiffany Park building. And it's free, absolutely free, and there are drinks and snacks during the breaks. Got to be free. And if you go to our website, there's a whole bunch of ways to do it. You can either text to a phone number, we add you to the list and respond back. You can use a fillable PDF form that you can email to us or bring in the day of. If you walk in the day of, we'll let you fill out the form and do it right there. But we're pretty excited, and we're going to make it a series of 3. So after this, we will hopefully do a resume writing and then a sort of a workshop on, I've got the job, now what do I do? How do I succeed at it and move on? Because sometimes it just seems like those practical aspects are not not available to kids. And then the second thing is, we've got a run coming up, which will be a lot of fun. So we're doing a Cedar River 5K. We are the sponsors, and it's to benefit the center. And it should be a lot of fun. You can run it, you can walk it, your whole family can do it. There's no age limit. The course is very, very easy. And we hope that we can get a lot of families out the way we used to do for Crop Walk and some of the other things. But it will seriously benefit RIAC and will help us to put more programming in place. There are a lot of things that our youth need that we would like to work on. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Beth. And when you get closer to the 5K, if you could send us a notice and we'll get it on our website and promote that.
Oh, that's perfect. Thanks.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Taylor.
Beth, could we get you to say that phone number for people that are just wanting to hear it? That they
That
could
wanna
call
text it?
for the
Yep.
employment?
So if you text to 425, oh no, don't text to that one, sorry about that. Text to 425-633-7655. I forgot the center's phone doesn't really have a text ability. And just put your name and interview. We've already had one young lady from one of the high schools who texted, and we've got her on our list.
Could you repeat it one more time slowly?
425-633-7655.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Beth. Next is Randolph.
My name is Randolph. I live in the city of Seattle. Mr. Mayor, honorable members of the City Council, good evening. I'm here to give you a quick update on Nestora Salgado. You may recall that last August you passed Resolution 4323, which was a resolution in support of efforts to free Nestora Salgado. And you will also recall that on February 23rd of this year, you passed a proclamation declaring February 27th, Nestora's birthday, Nestora Salgado Day for the city of Renton. The bad news, and item number 1, is that today is the 635th day of Nestora Salgado's confinement in the maximum security prison in Tepic, Mexico. So she's still today in that 9 by 9 foot cell under conditions that have been described as psychological torture and a serious abuse of human rights and due process. And they've been found to constitute a serious threat to her physical integrity and life. That's item number 1. Item number 2 is that 14 days ago, because obviously she's kept under what I think most people would consider fairly brutal conditions of solitary confinement. 14 days ago, she started a hunger strike, and so today she's on day number 14 of her hunger strike, going without food. And I don't know Ms. Salgado personally. I just know a lot about her being involved in this case now for the last year or so. But she strikes me as having the kind of character and determination to follow through on this hunger strike that she's on, for as long as it takes. So that's the second item of news. Third is and some of you may have heard about it. I think I might have contacted you by email when it happened, but 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, on February 27th, April 27th, the King County Council decided to take this matter up also, and they, in support of the action that you've taken and in support of the action that Congressman Smith and our senators and most of our congressional delegation has taken with that letter last August, the King County Council also adopted a letter on April 27th that they sent to Secretary Kerry, which is basically in the same spirit as the action you've took and the congressional delegation took. But obviously they pointed out that a large amount of time has passed, and they urged action because of that from the Secretary of State's office. The last thing in regard to the King County Council that you should know about as a bit of news is that the people that are out there working in the community of Freedom Store, Salgado, are lobbying the King County Council's Health and Human Services Committee, which is chaired by Councilman Upthegrove, who I understand represents this district that Renton is a part of, to hold a hearing on the Salgado matter so that the facts and circumstances surrounding her entire situation are going to be aired more fully, and that so that King County Council will be able to entertain some legislation that's going to be proposed to them over the next couple of weeks. So I just want you to know about that, to sort of generally be aware of that. And when that proposed legislative action is put in a draft form, which will happen within the next week or so, I'd like to send a copy to all of you, and you can take a look at it, hopefully when you have time, and consider giving it whatever support you're able to with the King County Council. But that's all I have. But thank you very much for your past actions in support of this, and I look forward to more support as time goes on. Thank you very much,
for the update.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
I just have one question. What is the response of the Consulate of United States in Guadalajara? I think they are the ones that have the jurisdiction in that area, and since Ms. Nestor Salgado is an United States citizen, they are the ones that are responsible for her health and care and protection of human rights, and as well as the Embassy of the United States. Do you have any contact with them? Have they say anything about it? Do they visit her?
Well, I've just met with the family members, and I meet with the family members occasionally, and there's not much contact there. The State Department has an established sort of protocol that's a part of their standard operational procedure for anybody that's a U.S. citizen that's detained in Mexico for whatever the reason is, and they followed that process. I mean, the information gotten back is that the local consulate in the state of Guerrero in Nayarit, they visited the prison.
The Consulate of the United States.
Yes, of the United States, yes. And, which they do in every case where a U.S. citizen is
Yeah, because they have to protect the human rights of every American
a brief
citizen.
notation or report on it, but that's the extent of what's happened. But the family's got no communication from the State Department at a higher level or anything of that sort, even though our congressional delegation has sent letters, as you know, to requesting action by the Secretary of State, himself. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, we have 6 items for council consideration. Were there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Ms.
I
Palmer.
would like to pull item C.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we adopt the consent agenda item C.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that council approve the consent agenda minus item C. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Ayes have it. Ms. Palmer.
Yes, item C is bid awarding for the South 7th Street at Shattuck intersection. And the Transportation Committee isn't going to be meeting as regularly scheduled, so I'd just like to go council concur. We've all reviewed the information, we've discussed it previously in committee, and it's going to go through, so let's just do council concur.
Okay, you want that as a motion?
Yes,
Have a
please.
second?
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Ms. Perez, that item C be a council concur item. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Taylor.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Palmer.
Yes, I have one committee report.
Okay, the Transportation Aviation Committee report for the City of Renton Americans with Disabilities Act Transition Plan. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve a resolution adopting the City of Renton Americans with Disabilities Act Transition Plan. and this is signed by the chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I move the committee report be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council adopt the Transportation and Aviation Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Person.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just one committee report from the Finance Committee.
Okay, the Finance Committee report, approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on May 18th, 2015, claims vouchers 338071 through 338428, 4 wire transfers and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $6,923,694.76, and payroll vouchers including 726 direct deposits and 63 payroll checks totaling $1,609,543.31. And this is signed by the chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have one resolution and 2 ordinances.
Our first resolution tonight is a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, adopting an Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, transition plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Palmer.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Palmer, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, our ordinance for first reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 1-3-2 of Chapter 3, Remedies and Penalties of Title I Administrative, Sections 4-3-050 and 4-3-120 of Chapter 3, Environmental Regulations and Overlay Districts, Section 4-8-120 of Chapter 8, Permits, General and Appeals, Section 4-9-250 of Chapter 9, Permits Specific, and Sections 4-11-040, 4-11-190, and 4-11-230 of Chapter 11, Definitions of Title 5, 5 Development Regulations of the Renton Municipal Code by updating the city's critical areas regulations, including repealing the current language in 4-3-050 and adopting new language, revising certain definitions, and making certain violations of Title V civil infraction.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
can you read that again? No.
Mean. Yeah, my Roman
You did a
numerals
great
are
job.
escaping me, too.
I'm just
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Ms. Palmer, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. You get to read it again at the next council meeting.
I'll try better next time.
You did a great job.
Okay, so our final ordinance, which is for adoption this evening, is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending Section 5-25-14 of Chapter 25, Business and Occupation Tax Code, and adopting a new Chapter 26 entitled Tax Administrative Code of Title V, Finance and Business Regulations of the Renton Municipal Code, providing administrative processes for administering city tax codes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person.
I move the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Taylor, that this ordinance be adopted as read. Requires a roll call.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Ms. Palmer?
Aye.
Mr. Person?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
The ayes have it. Thank you very much, Megan. Moving on to new business, Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. 2 items. On Monday, May 25th, 2015, we have no meetings. city holiday. It's Memorial Day. And then on June 1st, 2015, Committee of the Whole will be meeting at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. We have one item on the agenda. It's the King County Solid Waste Transfer Plan Renton impacts, and that is a briefing only. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Perez?
I have no new business, but I would like to share with you what I did this weekend.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that the computer will work soon. So you can see my video, which was a really interesting weekend. Look at that. That is me, believe it or not. I had the honor to be invited by the Renton firefighters, local A64, to the Fire Ops 101, and I got to dress as a firefighter and literally fight fire. It was not easy at all. My knees, my arms, everything was heavy. That uniform or outfit or whatever you call it that they wear is really heavy. It's really heavy. And the tank that I was wearing, I mean, when they literally put it on me, I thought that I was going to collapse in my back. And the only thing that I can hear in the mask when they put it on was something like, shh, shh, shh. I feel like Darth Vader, whatever you call the guy from Star Wars. You know, I was kind of, that thing, the host, when they say move on, is so heavy that I said, what do you mean move on? I mean, I was like I tried to carry a truck or something like that. I was not afraid of the fire. I was more afraid of dislocating my shoulder because it was so heavy, but they were so helpful. It was such an eye-opening about what it is to be a firefighter. I have so much appreciation now for what they do. That was before I entered what they call a maze, I think it's called. I couldn't see absolutely anything, and I have to confess that I have a little bit of a panic attack because they told me, go on your knees and touch the wall, and then suddenly everything was so heavy, and I realized I was in the middle of a tube, and they never told me if I was claustrophobic, and I was like, okay, I'm having a panic here, so they have to rescue me at the end of the day, which is not a surprise. But I climbed the ladder, and I did superb job, and at the end, when I was on the top of the thing, I just was exhausted, and I realized that I was so out of shape, but I have to say thank you very much to Rick Laycock and Ryan Simons. They are amazing firefighters that were supporting me and showing this experience. I have to say again, all my admiration for them. I cannot imagine they doing this when the time is so critical and the labor and how high is the whole thing. I have wounds all over my body. I couldn't move 2 days after that. I had to carry a saw, electrical saw. Look at that. I mean, that my mom would never believe it because she thought that she raised a princess. Well, guess what? That is now me. I am so proud of them by taking me and believing that I could do something like that. But they do this for living, and really, guys, I just cannot tell you how much I respect what the Renton firefighters do for us, and all my love and appreciation for every single firefighter in the world, because I think they deserve that. And again, and look, I graduated, and they gave me a helmet.
Very nice.
Lovely. Thank you, and here is my diploma. So, by the way, when I signed to be a council member, nobody told me about this. But it's part of the fun, okay? So thank you very much, and that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Huh? I say any new business, right?
All right, Mr. Pavoni, let's see you top that.
That's a tough act to follow.
What did you do
I
this-
mowed my lawn.
What did you do this week?
Watered it. All right, well, Public Safety has a meeting that is canceled on June 1st.
Okay,
That is all.
well, that was short and sweet. Mr. Taylor?
Even shorter, no new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Corman?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Ms. Palmer?
Yes, the Transportation Committee normally scheduled for Tuesday, May 26th has been canceled.
Okay, and Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee will meet June 1st, Monday, in the council conference room at 5 PM. Three topics: vouchers, Poulon Park Concrete Tile Rehabilitation Project, and emerging issues in revenue streams.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Zimmerman, I expect 2170 at the Public Workshops to work on Public Works 101 for Ms. Perez, and we'll get her up there for that.
Yeah, it sounds like since Armando mowed his lawn, he's up there ready.
Okay, audience comment, anybody who'd like to address the council? It's a wish of the council.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, there was moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Corman, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those were adjourned.
I was watching.